Okay, so it's time for the second Game Accelerator mission for week 2. Last week we went over the principle of investment and how to actually be a guy who's attractive and have women chase you because of the way you position your body. Because like we said, it all starts with how you present yourself, how you physically place yourself in the environment. But this week we're going to talk about something that's a little more important even, and that's social awareness. Okay, so social awareness is huge. Being socially aware is something that a lot of guys miss out on just because they don't pay attention to what the girl's giving them, okay? And learning how to be socially aware is really important because you build comfort. So as you guys know, I talked about it in the core curriculum. One of the biggest principles of being a guy who can get consistent success is being able to have girls trust you. Being able to have the girl realize, hey, this is a guy that I can relate to, but even more than just relate to, this is a guy that I can be safe with. It doesn't even have to be like, I know this guy so deeply and I know everything about him, but it could just be more so if I hang out with this guy and go home with him tonight or go on a date with him, there's going to be no real consequence to me and I'll be fine, right? So learning how to be that guy is extremely important, and social awareness is the key. A guy who is socially aware is a guy that is more attractive. And again, we went into social awareness very deep in the core curriculum, but we'll jump on it again here in week number 2. So part of being a guy who is socially aware means that you are responsive to things that are going on around you. Remember we talked about being responsive and not reactive? You don't want to be reactive like, I'm in constant reaction, I'm constantly measuring my value based on everyone else around me, but instead it's where, I see what people are giving me, or I see how people are interacting with each other, and I'm going to respond to that. I'm going to respond in the most intelligent way, in the most socially aware way that allows me to get a result, right? Again, it allows me to get a fucking positive result, because most guys, again, are interacting blind. Most guys are going out and they're like, okay, see girl in the park or see girl in the club, go say hi to her and ignore everything that's happening around. No, but you actually have to pay attention to, how does this girl relate to this person? How does this girl relate to maybe even me when I come up and say hi? How do these two friends know each other? How do they know each other? Things like that, and being socially aware. Something else is that when you're socially aware, it's going to be a lot easier for you to solve problems later on down the line. When you go out and you game blind, you're not going to be having success. So like, for example, my day game students, a very simple way of doing this, if you're like going out and practicing meeting girls during the day, one of the ways you can do this is by simply asking a girl, what are you up to right now? When you approach her, what are you up to right now? And seeing, is that girl actually free to go on an instant date or go grab a coffee with you? Right? That's one of the key components of being socially aware during the day. And at night, an example of that would be asking her friends, asking her how she knows the people that are with her, finding out information. Remember we talked about information and knowledge is power in the chapter about social awareness. So it's the same thing here. Learning how to be socially aware is crucially important. How are you going to get there? Okay, well, it's week number 2 and it's time for a new fucking mission. So this week is a social awareness exercise that I actually became a fan of around 2016 when I did this in my own game, and I started having students do this to a lesser extent, but it's still really fucking valuable. So what you're going to do is this. When you go out, you're going to focus this week on group interactions, whether it's during the day or at night. You're going to focus on opening groups of girls. So you're not going to focus on, I'm getting one girl as the easiest interaction, but you're going to focus on interacting with groups. Maybe a girl that's with a guy, or a girl that's with 2 friends. So you have to open girls that have 2 friends or a guy or something like that, and the key is figuring out how they all relate to each other. So how does this group of people relate to each other? That's going to teach you how to be socially aware. So when you go out this week, I want you to put a priority, whether it's at night or during the day, I want you to put a priority of opening groups, opening group sets, starting interactions with girls that are not just by themselves, but things that are going to challenge you a little more, okay? So you see 3 girls walking together, you're going to interact with those 3 girls. Hey, you guys look fucking amazing and I wanted to meet you. Now, where does the exercise come in? So the doing part is, opening the group. But how are you learning? Well, what you're going to do is you're going to focus on the girl in that group that is most likely to go home with you or most likely to see you again. And you're going to have to figure out how they all know each other, okay? So when you go into the interaction, let's say that you see 3 girls walking during the day. One thing you have to do is figure out, how do these 3 girls all know each other? What is the situation like? Maybe one of the hot girls I can meet up with later on in the evening because the other 2 are roommates and this girl stays by herself. Or maybe you can figure out a way to meet one girl right then and there and go on an instant date with her just by herself. Or maybe you go to a club and you open a girl that has 2 girlfriends with her and she has a guy. Ask her, how does she know the rest of the people in the group? interact with the whole group, and your focus is going to be to figure out how the group knows each other. What is the group dynamic? Who's the person in that group, the female in that group, that you're more likely to sleep with? Which girl do you have a better advantage with in terms of how they all know each other? So let's say you see a girl and a guy, and then there's two other girls in the group, and you notice that one girl and guy are like holding hands. Most likely that girl statistically is not going to have a huge chance of going home with her. But if one of the girls looks kind of bored and is showing a little more interest in you, you probably could take that girl to the bar. Remember, we talked about leading, getting emotional momentum, making things happen. Again, apply the fuckboy frame principles with this exercise, but I want you to put a focus on groups, okay? So you're going to do that with the minimum of 5 interactions per session. So if you go out this week and you go out 3 times, you go out 4 times, again, you have to be taking action with these exercises. You can't just go out and say, I'm going to go out once and half-ass it. I want you to do this with 5 interactions the next time you go out, okay? So you go out this weekend at night, you go out, let's say 2 nights, Friday and Saturday, and you go out during the day. You're going to do it with 5 interactions. You're going to get 5 different groups, and you're going to see how they relate to each other. You're going to become socially aware, and you're going to train yourself to pay attention to how everyone knows each other, what the group dynamic is. Again, the goal is to learn how to be socially aware. The goal is to learn how to recognize how people know each other and to make decisions according to that. And again, if you want more insights in like, how do I relate to everyone? How do I actually make something happen? Refer back to Module 3 in the Fuckboy Frame, the Taking Action module. There's a whole chapter on social awareness. Who's the leader of the group? And look at the advanced section as well. The advanced game, well, I talk about advanced social awareness, how to know how everyone knows each other, how to make decisions based on that, okay? I will see you guys next week for week 3. Good luck this week. Crush it. Take a lot of action. Open some groups. And I'll talk to you guys next week.